Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Very, very great. I can see you're doing great as
It's
well.
nice meeting you.
Thank you so much, sir. And big congratulations to you on the launch of this wonderful book. I was at the launch and I couldn't just stop wondering and then being very excited at the commendation, the compliments that were all coming around your person, and then the book. So today, my beautiful audience, I am having a conversation around a very, very powerful and thought-provoking book, The Traitor's Dilemma, The Philosophy and Spiritual Consequences of Betrayal, by Reverend Dr. Festus Adegboyega Akinola. This is a book that exposes betrayal, not just emotionally, but spiritually, philosophically, and personally. So it's a great honor speaking to you, sir.
Thank you very much, MD. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I want to ask you the first question. What inspired this book? And this is why I'm asking. You mentioned that inspiration, right, around this book came from a painful season of your life in 2019. So my question is, at what point did that pain move from being personal experience to becoming an assignment and eventually a book? At what point, sir?
Well, it was a very painful experience when you are betrayed by very close to people to you. People you couldn't imagine will be the one to betray you. And it was like a gang up. So it took some time for me to receive healing as a result of the shock that came from the betrayal, not by one person, not by two people, by about 4 or 5 people that are supposed to be very close to you. So at a point, I started jotting down my experiences, how the things happened, my feelings. And as I was jotting down, it got to a point I felt others may need to benefit from what I have gone through, the lessons I've learned, and how I have received healing. But I was not quick in coming up to start the writing of the book until January last year. And thank God I was not quick in writing. If I had written it in 2019, it is possible that it will not be as rich as what we have in your hands now. I believe for about 3 years I had opportunity to ruminate, to research, and to also examine my own feelings more deeply before I started writing the book January last year.
Why is the book about betrayal? Because many people write about, success, about faith, maybe their trial season, how people should have faith and all of that, leadership, relationship. So why did you feel that betrayal was a subject important enough to dedicate an entire book for?
It is because betrayal is an unavoidable event in human lives. There's no way you will live long and you will not be betrayed once, twice, thrice, even more than that. It is an essential part of human life, and we must not shy away from it. We must not ignore it. The second reason is that it could be very painful. It could be depending on where it is coming from. Betrayal could be very painful. If something painful is an unavoidable, also, it is important for us to start talking about it. The unavoidability of betrayal is seen even in African philosophy. You see it in our culture through our proverbs, whether Yoruba proverbs, Igbo proverbs, Yoruba proverbs, Hausa proverbs. I try to, in the book, in the first chapter of the book, to look at it from the Yoruba proverbs and the Igbo proverbs, and it is clear that even in African philosophy that we can see through our culture, you can see that betrayal is not only unavoidable, it is highly painful.
So, sir, you believe that it is that betrayal is inevitable, unavoidable?
It is inevitable. It is inevitable.
Because that is exactly what you describe in the book.
Exactly. And we have the temptation to think that people betray also in politics. Only in politics. But that's not true. That's not true. People betray in the church. People betray in the mosque. God people betrays each other. And if we have it like that, and that is the one of the side of the book, the spiritual perspective of it, because it is assumed that when you are in the church, for example, there shouldn't be betrayal, but that's not true. That's not true. People, your pastor can betray you. Church members can betray their pastors. Within leadership of the church, you can be betrayed. So it is inevitable.
My concern is, and that concern is a question that I have in my heart, but since you have gone that direction, let me just get to that direction as well. Because you said betrayal is inevitable, is unavoidable. That means in our human existence, we will go through betrayal, in our lives. So my worry is, why do betrayal often come from people closest to us? Why?
One, it is because we are human.
Okay.
Even if you call somebody a man of God, okay, it is the man that comes first, not the God. So
wow, that's true.
The humanity in us is an important part. One theologian said that this flesh is incapable of doing any good outside Jesus Christ. That this flesh is not capable of doing anything good. So the flesh factor is there. And inside that flesh factor is the self-interest of everybody. The self-interest. Unfortunately, self-interest is being manifested more in contemporary world than any other world we have ever lived.
Wow.
This world is becoming more self-centered. Everybody is concerned about his or herself more than any, like I said, more than any time in human history.
All right, sir.
And it is
now, thank you, sir. Sorry to cut you, but I want you to just continue in that line of thought without breaking. But I'd like to introduce the people that you cited in the book. You cited Judas, you cited Peter, you cited also modern believers, right? And then you explore, the biblical, these biblical figures. And then you said one betrayed deliberately, the other failed or betrayed under pressure. So in my head, I let's just say it, like giving an excuse for one to say, okay, because he was under pressure, that was why he betrayed. But an important lesson, what important lesson should modern believers learn? Difference between these two. One, Judas betraying deliberately, or can we really say it was deliberate? But just look at it. You mentioned Judas, you mentioned Peter, and then modern believers. Just talk about it. You talk about the one deliberate, one under pressure. Just talk about that in the line of thought. Yes.
Judas betrayed deliberately. In fact, he was the one that went to the high priest, the leaders of the people that wanted to kill Jesus. He offered himself.
So that was his free will. That was his free will working. Free will.
Peter never wanted to. In fact, he was determined not to. But the flesh was too weak for him not to betray. Although we use the word denial for what Peter did. But the truth of the matter is that there is no difference between denier and betrayer in that regard. He betrayed the Lord Jesus Christ.
Of course, because if you deny me, you're betraying me.
Exactly. So the word denier is not just semantic. He betrayed. But you see, there are times you will discover that there are times all of us we have asked to do some things outside what we actually wanted to do. And later in the New Testament, Paul will have to allude to that when he said, "Things I do not want to do, I find myself doing them." It is because of the weakness of the self. So that wasn't an intentional or deliberate betrayal. Let me tell you another thing that can happen as an African. You have two friends,
okay,
and something happened. One of them confided in you about something that the third friend did and told you not to say it. But you know that thing can affect their relationship, can spoil their relationship totally. Because you wanted to save the relationship, you decided, let me tell this one that this is what the third friend have said. You need to find a way to remedy it, maybe to say sorry to him, maybe to explain yourself. Your intention was to save their relationship, not to spoil anything. But the fact that this one had told you not to tell the other one, and you have told the other one, you have betrayed.
That's true. That's true.
But you have not betrayed deliberately. You wanted to save a situation that was made you to do what you have done. So there could be indeliberate betrayal.
I see that, and then this question I want to ask it is like a double-edged question, and it's around loyalty, because the things you're talking about right now, if I look at it very well, I see also the place of loyalty, and in your book you didn't leave that out. You spoke extensively about loyalty, right? So do you think that loyalty is becoming rare in our generations today? Even with friendships, ministry, leadership, and what can be done? Because if you look at it, this subject of betrayal, even when you started, you talk about people being self-centered, right? And then talking about the things you just we're talking about just seconds ago, trying to save relationship and all of that. So what's your thought on loyalty? How it can help, or what is the state of loyalty today in our generation, and how it can help to bridge the gap between betrayal, denial, and all of that?
Like you observed, I devoted a chapter to loyalty. And it was like a case study of the life of Jonathan. And for me, the life of Jonathan was the peak of human loyalty that can be found. Mm-hmm. The extent of Jonathan's loyalty to David was that Jonathan knew that he was to be the next king after his father. Mm-hmm. But he supported David against his father. He was loyal to David. In fact, at a point, he brought out his royal robe and gave it to David. That means, I'm giving my royalty to you. That was what Jonathan did. And it is something that is almost impossible to find in today's world. So it is true that loyalty is rare today. Don't let us even go to the extent of Jonathan. Ordinary, simple loyalty. People will fall, people will betray as a result of simple interest, simple self-centeredness. People will betray their friends, they will betray their father, they betray their mother as a result. So people are no longer loyal. People are no longer loyal. And like I said the other time, the contemporary world needs to learn from this. Even my generation, as I grew up, I see witness some level of loyalty than what we have today. It's like loyalty is going to the drain. It is going to the grave. That is what we have today. Everybody is concerned about his own self.
Wow. So, Pastor Sir, I want to, you didn't just discuss loyalty or even betrayal in just the spiritual sense. You introduced the philosophy behind betrayal as well in your book. And one thing that stands out for me in the book is that you didn't just treat this subject just as a spiritual thing. Because people can give excuses, right, for why they did what they did, and said sometimes they say, I didn't even know what came over me and all of that, right? So what does philosophy help us to understand about betrayal that emotions alone cannot explain? That's my next question.
You see, if you look at that chapter that deals, in fact, there are two chapters that dealt with philosophical aspects of betrayal. The first one is to look at betrayal as from the point of theodicy, and that is the evil in the act of betrayal, the evil in the act of betrayal. That to the point that people can question God if they are seriously betrayed. To question God, why did you allow this to happen to me? Why me? Why can't you protect me? Why can't? And some people have doubted the power of God, the benevolence of God as a result of evil, any evil, which include that of betrayal. Then when you look at the next chapter, where I dealt with the philosophical, I traced it from the early philosophy of people like Aristotle and Plato. Now, even if you look at the way it is traced, with those people, they see betrayal as essentially evil. But as it got to the 19th, 20th century, philosophical approach to betrayal started to change. Some philosopher like Friedrich Nietzsche, philosopher like Jean-Paul Sartre began to see it as positive, as defending yourself, as promoting your interests, as what is needed for you to get power, that what is needed for you to get to the top. The need for that chapter is to warn people of the danger of some philosophical stand that can destroy a culture, that can destroy a people, that can destroy a generation, and that is the philosophy of today. Some of these philosophers of today are encouraging people to betray. They are encouraging people to stab others in their back in order to get to power. In fact, Friedrich Nietzsche, for example, called Christianity slave morality, that Christianity enslaved people through the act of goodness, through the act of honesty. He said, act of goodness, honesty, fairness, they are not a good virtue. They are not, because they cannot get you power, they cannot get you money, they cannot get you to the top. And at a point, he said God is dead. He said God is dead. So everybody do your own. You have your own morality, I have my own morality. Let nobody, let no culture, let no Yoruba culture, let no Igbo culture determines what is moral to us. You determine your morality and let me determine my morality. So one of the things that I wanted to achieve was to us to be able to compare where philosophy began and where philosophy is going. And some of today's children may not know where philosophy began in terms of seeing betrayal as essentially evil. They may just be they may just be exposed to what philosophers are saying now, and they begin to think that is the best way to live. That is the best way of life. I am also an African existentialist. I believe so much in African culture. I believe so much in African philosophy. I believe in biblical culture, biblical philosophy, and I believe that some of these Western philosophies are antithesis to our culture and may destroy us as a people.
Wow, that is very very comprehensive, and I allowed you to talk because we really need to understand everything we can get, both from the book and then from you yourself sharing with us your depth of insight about betrayal, loyalty, and all of this. Pastor, I want to drive this home, and I want to ask you about healing, because one of the deepest struggle after betrayal is not just the pain, but trusting again, right? So from your research and personal journey, how does this healing begin?
Well, the journey began by coming to the realization that those that betrayed me are human beings. And I accepted that. I also came to a point that whether I like it or not, I cannot stop relating with human beings. Whatever I want to do, I cannot be an island on my own. People may betray you, but you need people's support. People may disappoint you, but you need people around you. As a publishing company, talking about Glitz now, yes. You have had staff that you have employed that have disappointed you. Yes. You have had staff that have done very well. You will not say because of the staff that have disappointed you, you will do away with every staff that you have, and you'll be doing the work alone. You will not be able to achieve what you are achieving now. So whether we like it or not, we must continue to relate with people. And that's why there was an illustration I brought in that book about Dele Wale Adenuga's book, one of his soap opera, This Life. A man asked his son to climb a roof, top of a roof, although not too high, and asked the boy to jump down. I will carry you, you will not be injured. The boy was afraid. The father was telling him, come down, I will. Then the boy trusted the father and he jumped down, but the father refused to save him. The boy fell down and was slightly injured. And the father told the son that the lesson I want you to learn is that don't trust anybody. And I said in that my book, that counsel is a bad counsel.
Wow.
It's a bad counsel. Yes.
You have to trust people.
You have been betrayed. But you still need people in your life. You still need people in your life. Because one father has betrayed his son doesn't mean every father will betray their children. That would be a wrong assumption. You cannot, because of one person's betrayal, lose hope in humanity. Even God, humanity remains the only vessel that God uses for us here on earth. If God is going to do anything for you, He's going to use human beings.
That's very, very true, sir. I wanted to tell you to just, in a few seconds, just tell the audience what you will want them to get when they read this book, but you have done so. You have done so repeatedly in the course of your conversation, and I must tell you, sir, that this is not just a book. This is not just a book. This is healing. This is clarity. This is understanding, right? This is going to dissolve doubts in the heart of a lot of people and help them, answer that confusing question in their head about what betrayal is, why do people betray people, and what should I do if people keep betraying me. Should I just throw everybody off and say, you know what, I'm just going to be a lone ranger and just keep traveling the path alone? But it's not possible. You just told us that it's not possible. Exactly. Just like Jesus said in Luke 17, that woe to the world because of offenses, and because offenses must surely come. But woe to him through whom offense come. And I remember what David said in Psalms 119 verse 165. He said, great peace have they that love your word, and nothing shall by enemies offend them. So offenses will come. Jesus said they will come. But then you can get like a shock absorber. You can get knowledge. In fact, you can grant them future forgiveness, because you know that it will come, it will happen. You're dealing with the flesh.
Correct.
And like you said, this flesh outside Jesus is no good. It's no good. It's such a very, very interesting time talking with you, sir, Dr. Reverend Festus Adegboyega Ichinola. He's a teacher of the Word of God. He's an administrator, he's a leader, he's an African Christian existentialist, and a church peace scholar. He holds a Master of Arts degree in Peace, Security and Humanitarian Studies from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. And he also earned a doctorate degree with a major Christian philosophy and a minor in systematic theology from the Nigerian Baptist Theological Seminary of Ogbomoso. Thank you so much, sir, for the privilege to speak with you. And I'm sure that people will get this book. I'm telling everybody right now, please do get a copy of this book. This book is not just a conversation about betrayal, but a conversation about healing, about purpose, about loyalty, faith, and the complexity of human relationships, like I've already mentioned. Get this book and make sure that you get in contact with Dr. Reverend Festus, because he has a whole lot that he can keep sharing with us. Thank you, sir, and congratulations on the launch of this book.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's very exciting to speak with you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So yours in service, everybody. Patrick Michael, privileged founder and MD of Glitz Publishers, Glitz iTech and Trade. That is all from my end to you. Have a wonderful day, sir.
And thank you. Congratulations for being in Lagos now. You are in Lagos now.
That's true. Thank you so much, sir.
When we relate with my next book, it will be from Lagos, not from Kaduna.
That is true. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.